This is a short video to show you how the IBIS in the Canon R6 compares to the IBIS in the Panasonic GH5 for handheld video. And spoiler alert, the GH5 utterly destroys the Canon. But you want to see that for yourself, right? So I mounted both cameras on this little mini tripod with an extension bar so that they'd both be filming the same thing in one take. I had the GH5 fitted with Panasonic's 12mm f1.4 lens and the R6 with the Sigma 24mm art. So their equivalent fields of view should be broadly the same. And neither lens has optical image stabilisation, so we're only just evaluating the IBIS on both cameras. And here's the GH5. It's not perfect, but considering I'm walking fairly normally with an unbalanced load held out in front of me, I think this is pretty good. Here's the Canon R6. Now, I know these shots aren't beautiful, we're still in lockdown here in the UK, so this is just literally outside, but it's clear to see immediately that the IBIS here isn't performing very well, at least for this kind of shot. But just to embarrass the Canon a little more, let's put them side by side. And I think it's crystal clear that the R6 comparatively is jittery and all over the place, while the GH5 looks usable. Now I know there'll be many people saying this isn't a fair comparison. The Canon has a full frame sensor which is much larger and therefore much harder to stabilise. But I just wanted to illustrate that for handheld video work, the GH5 I think is a much better tool. So people writing off cameras with a micro four thirds sensor like the GH5 are, in my opinion, missing the point. I have access to much more expensive cameras, but where I need to be mobile and efficient, I'll pick up my GH5 every single time. But to make things a little easier on the Canon, I also wanted to shoot a more static shot, handheld, albeit with a longer focal length. So I went with the Olympus Pro 25mm f1.2 on the GH5 and the Sigma 50mm art lens on the R6. Now previously I've judged the R6 IBIS to be acceptable for static shots, and it generally is okay up to around 50mm. But the R6 really didn't do very well here. I was balancing on a rock, so I wasn't as stable as I could have been, but still you'll see in a second that the GH5 copes much better. And here it is. And this is without IS lock engaged. IS lock is a GH5 feature that makes the IBIS more sticky. It's not great for moving shots, but if you engage it like this, well, the camera might as well have been on a tripod. It's incredible. The GH5's IBIS, in my opinion, is every bit as impressive today as it was when it was first released in 2017. Canon's newly developed IBIS in the R5 and R6 is good for photos, but even though it does help a little with video work, it's not going to replace a gimbal or monopod in the way that the GH5 can. And that's why this little camera, the Panasonic GH5, 4 years later, is still the one I enjoy using the most. If you like this video, please give it the old thumbs up and consider subscribing for more videos about film, sound and music production. Until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.